Aloha. Good afternoon. This is Andrew Aloha live out of Flagstaff, Arizona with Spiritual Image Productions at Lowe's Observatory. Today, I just wanted to talk to you about Maggie, a new TV series that just came out on Hulu, I should say. Pretty funny, amazing show. If you are psychic, or you have kids that are psychic, or if you know people that are psychic that you hang out with, you're probably going to want to watch this. It was pretty amazing. They really covered it. Whoever wrote it did a really good job, because they knew exactly what was going on with these people. For example, like the parents of the Maggie, with her growing up as a psychic, they knew she was a psychic, but they didn't know how to work with her. They had a hard time. So they're touching on topics that you wouldn't consider if you're just a normal, mundane, everyday, average, mediocre person, right? So, but when you grow up as a psychic, your parent, I don't think anybody really thinks about that. What do the parents have to go through for all that process? Well, anyhow, that's kind of what my book is all about. I just wrote it. I just came out with it a few months ago. Let me see if I can get this thing out here. But anyhow, it's for that purpose. A lot of people grow up psychic, and they don't have anyone to talk to. So, and that's kind of what it was like for me. I grew up, and I actually developed my psychic abilities as time went on, but I didn't really have anyone to talk to about different experiences going on, and how to work with them, what to expect from them, and so forth. So that if you are a parent, or you have a kid, or you're psychic yourself, maybe this is something you might want to read. And it starts out with opening up with my experience when I first came to. It was like a movie, fade in. All of a sudden, I was at this child care center in Gridley, California, and I have a joust in my hand. This guy's teaching us how to joust, and all of a sudden it's fade in right into that scene, right? It's like that. I don't remember anything of maybe one small experience, but otherwise pretty much I don't remember anything from 0 to 5 years old, right? Assumably I fell or tripped off a car, or fell on my head. I had amnesia or something. I don't know what, but I don't remember anything from that. So it opens up with that, and then it opens up with I talk about my experience with Maitreya Buddha. When I was in the Air Force, right before I got out, me and these two women bankers were at this riverbed in Victorville, California, right? We're sitting there talking, we're drinking wine coolers. We weren't drunk. I think we had barely just drank one wine cooler. And this tall Spaniard-looking guy comes up and appears to us and says, "The Christ will appear within 10 years. And then I look down to laugh, ha ha ha, and then I look back up and he's gone. There's nowhere for him to run, right? He literally disappeared. And to this day, I haven't talked to these women about what they experienced. So it was a very profound experience. And before the night was over, I forgot the whole event for 5 years. And then I was in this transmission meditation group in the Dallas, Texas area, and some guy comes in and says, "Hey, you're not going to believe what happened." One of the group members. "What happened?" "Well, these two people picked up a hitchhiker. The guy was just all in white, and they were a Christian couple who never pick up hitchhikers. The guy says the Christ will appear within 5 years, and disappears, and they crashed alongside the road." This is in police records, right? So when he said that, when he told us that story, I recall all of a sudden the recall of that night that I experienced with these two women just came back to me like a hot potato, right? It was like that. So anyhow, later I found out that that was Maitreya Buddha, and you can read about him in Share International magazine. You can look him up. Benjamin Krem, an artist out of England, who grew up or was born in Scotland. I think he grew up in Scotland as well. But anyhow, he's an artist, and he came out and started talking to people about Maitreya Buddha and transmission meditation and doing group meditations all over the world, right? So anyhow, the book. Now, the significant thing about this book is that if you look at the cover, I had a friend out of Cottonwood, Sharon Palmer, who painted this cover, right? And so I somehow we got on the topic, and she said, well, why don't you program me to paint this really good and really fast? I said, okay. So I did a program. I programmed her to paint the perfect book cover for me, and she did within 1 month or so, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. She goes, well, that's the fastest I've ever painted a painting like that. And I said, well, it works. So now I talk about UFOs. I talk about aliens, about ghosts, about all kinds of paranormal events that have been going on. One day I just started writing down all the stories, and I thought, wow, I have a whole book's worth there. And there's still a whole bunch of stories that I haven't included in this book, and maybe they'll all come out with a second volume or whatever. But it talks about, one day I went to visit some people for dinner. We were going to have dinner, and it was sun was setting, and the stars were starting to come out, and I looked at a star. One of the things that I first learned when I came out here and moved to Arizona, moved to Sedona, was how to locate and find UFOs. And sure enough, I looked at a star and I go, that's a UFO. This guy goes, oh, okay. So he went and came back with a telescope, right? So I lined it up, looked and pointed it up. Sure enough, it was a UFO, a ship, a cigar-shaped ship, that was kept flipping back and forth like that, right? And I lined it up, looked it up, and said, "Look at that." He looked at it, and I don't know what he thought, because I don't think he ever said anything, but I think he flipped out. He was freaked out. But anyhow, I had all kinds of other paranormal experiences that I put in the book. Now, one of the things that was significant about the book, and the moral of the book, is that towards the end, I have 3 paranormal experiences that I describe. I called them programs. I did these programs to actually consciously produce them. So now the paranormal events actually happen on command. I can turn around and do these programs, and they'll happen. For example, I knew 2 years ago, I knew I was going to get some funding coming through, and I wanted to get a car. I knew I wanted to get a car, so I did some programs to find the perfect car and purchase the perfect car for the perfect price. Well, I had this vision all of a sudden that came to my mind, and then I went online and I started looking at different pictures and different sites, and sure enough, I seen the exact same picture of the vision that I had. So I called the guy up and I said, "Hey, you're not going to believe this, but I'm supposed to buy your car." He goes, "Well, if you can get down here, I'll sell it to you." I said, "Okay, fine." So I took a Greyhound bus all the way out there. He picked me up, and we went through all kinds of crap trying to purchase it, and I didn't get enough funding for it. He was pretty demanding about getting the funding, so I had to spend the night in Phoenix, and then the next day I said, "Well, I'll do one more program and see what happens." And I did. I did one more program to have enough money to purchase the car and get out of there by 2 p.m. that afternoon. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I finally talked to a Bank of America supervisor who released the rest of the funds to me, and I turned around, gave him the money, signed all the paperwork, and I was on my way back to Flagstaff to here for by 2 p.m. that afternoon. So that was interesting. Another conscious paranormal event that took place. A woman, a model that's in my network on Facebook. Somebody hacked into her Instagram account, right? And they locked her out of it. And I said, well, why don't I do some programs so you can get it back? And she was kind of like, she didn't believe in it, I think, or something. And so I did some programs, and I didn't establish how she would get her account back and why. I just said so she can get it back right away, right? The program. So sure enough, I think within a week and a half or so, she said she got she somehow talked to the hacker, and he gave it back to her, and she had her account back. And now the other third paranormal event that I consciously helped produce was with Britney Spears last year. I didn't know, for 13 years she had been in this conservatorship, which I knew nothing about until last year. And then I said, well, a lot of people were really angry and annoyed that she was involved in this situation. And not only that, but she was involved with this guy, and they wanted to get married, but they couldn't get married unless she got out of the conservatorship. So I did. Around June, July, end of June, beginning of July, I did a series of programs to get her out of this conservatorship. November 12th last year, she was granted or released from that conservatorship, and in fact, I think a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, she got married to the guy that she was hanging out with. So anyhow, it's like that. That's the moral of the story. There's the cover has been activated, so it emanates healing energies to those that are around it. There's some pictures in here. Okay. Well, anyhow, here's the one. There's some pictures here. I don't see if I can show them to you. There's some pictures in here that are also inside the book that have also been activated that will emanate healing energies to you. And so, and it's $29.95. And I apologize that I had to make it for that price. I wanted to make it cheaper, but when I formatted the book and put it out there, Amazon demanded that I charge a certain price. So I had to charge that price and then add some kind of I don't know, maybe I'll change the price so it's just people can buy it for what it's worth. For the actual wholesale price. So I'll figure it out. But anyhow, I will be doing an interview, I think within the next week or two. If you go to my website, spiritualimageproductions.com, spiritualimageproductions.com, you can check it out. Probably on my Facebook fan page, I'll be putting it there. I was gonna check the date for that, and I forgot. But anyhow, all the information for that should be there if you want to check it out. In meantime, if you got any questions, I'm doing it. Out of all this, I put together a new course called the Ascended Citizen Journey. There's nothing like it anywhere in the world, literally. It's very avant-garde, I want to say, but it's progressive, I think is a better word. So, and then it's a 10-week program if you're interested in that. And then also the Ascension Intuition Sessions, which is a 2-hour program that you can purchase as many as you want. And instead of you learning how to do all that stuff, I just do it for you within 2 hours. I get you lined up with and on the same page with me, and then I go in there and do clearings of all the crap you don't need in your life. I do blockage removals of all the crap you don't need in your life, and then I do also manifestations. And depending on how much work or how much stuff you want to do, we can figure that out. and do a series of sessions, or you can just do one session and see how you like it and go from there. So anyhow, I want to thank you for stopping by. Have a God Goddess weekend. Be the love that you are, always have been, and always will be. Aloha.